Hey everybody, how you guys doing? Richroll here, popping in for an Instagram live, and the occasion for this particular live stream is I wanted to invite my good friend Doug Evans to join me. I've never done like a split screen live Instagram thing, and I think that I have to let him pop up here so I can bring him on board. There he is. I'm going to add him, and he should join. There he is. Doug, I just invited you. All right. He's going to be here in a second. There he is.
Hey, Rich, how are you?
Your hair looks very appropriate for this particular moment in time.
Yeah, I'm in my little sprouting kitchen here in the desert.
So for people that don't know, Doug relocated from New York City out to this essentially, like, how do you describe it? Like a compound near Joshua Tree out in the middle of the desert where he's creating like this commune built on top of hot springs. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's like the Mojave Desert, and I had a hunch that there were hot springs here. And lo and behold, we have hot springs, and I'm living primarily off the food grid. In the Mojave, I go to the farmer's market in Joshua Tree, and I buy fruit, and then I grow my own sprouts.
So are you growing anything other than sprouts, or is it just sprouts that you're growing?
I mean, I have a greenhouse that's coming in tomorrow, so I can start to grow some other things. But basically, right now, I'm growing a lot of sprouts.
Well, sprouting is basically the rationale, the reason why I wanted to get you up on the live stream today. We were intending to do a podcast, but that podcast got derailed as a result of coronavirus. So we weren't able to be in the same room to do it. And I didn't want to have this kind of conversation with you remotely. So the second best option is doing what we're doing now, because Doug wrote this amazing book that comes out on the 7th next week, the Sprout book, which I'm very proud of you. It's really a great book, and I wanted to talk to you about it.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I've been sprouting for over 20 years, and
of course
I took it for granted. You know, I've been plant-based 21 years, and, you know, I got turned on to sprouting, but it's kind of like the Russell Conwell essay, Acres of Diamonds.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, he wrote this incredible, like, little story about this man who was living on a farm, and he sold his farm, traveling around the world, looking for riches and diamonds. And then he lost everything and threw himself into the ocean and killed himself. The person who bought his land ended up seeing a little shiny object on it, and it was a diamond, and turned out to be like the largest diamond ore in the East Coast. And all along, this man was sitting on acres of diamonds.
Wow.
And I felt like I feel like the whole world is sitting on acres of sprouts. Like sprouting seeds are just ubiquitous. I mean, I'm just going to show you this. These are 5-gallon buckets, you know, filled with 35 pounds of sprouting seeds. And and literally within days, you can turn like these dry seeds that are anywhere from $2 to $10 a pound into edible food.
Right.
And like when we live in the cities and we have access to Air One and Rainbow and Whole Foods, I took that for granted, and I just would go buy the vegetables that I wanted. But I live not only in the desert, I live in a food desert, because the nearest Whole Foods is an hour and 15 minutes away. So being resourceful, I was like, okay, how am I going to get my food? How am I going to get my nutrition? And then like sprouting came, and just look at these beautiful sunflower sprouts that I'm growing. These are 3-day-old sunflower sprouts, and I'm growing them. And I'm just going to flip the screen around. I'm growing these on unbleached paper towel as my sprouting medium. So you could just see, and these are 3 days old, and these are like 1 day old. I just started to sprout them.
So those the green sprouts that you just showed me, those went from seed to that in 3 days?
Yeah, three. I think these are the end of the 3rd day of after soaking them. So I soak them in a jar, you know, like this. And then I soak them for about 2 days, and then I pour them into something like that. And then, you know, 3 days later, like they're alive and sprouting into edible greens without soil, without sunshine, like you know, growing on a paper towel.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I mean, I think the thing about sprouts and sprouting, I think most people know they're super nutritious. They're like these power packs, you know, they're very nutritionally dense. But I remember when you were first, it was maybe like 2 years ago, you started espousing the benefits of sprouting and sharing with me your enthusiasm for this. And I do remember kind of having a challenge, like trying to wrap my head around, like, all right, how does this work? And like, why should I do this? But I feel like the culture is catching up to you. You're always like a couple steps ahead of everybody else. And now we're in this very unique moment where people are at home. Yes, we can, you know, sort of go to the grocery store, but we're not really supposed to. We have extra time on our hands. And it just seems like this is a great moment for people to kind of learn how to do this as, you know, this sort of home ec hobby, but also as a way of educating themselves about the nutritious benefits of, you know, eating this stuff.
Oh, I mean, it's so unbelievable, and it's so easy. I mean, I've never had land. I've never had a garden before, so I've always been an urban consumer. I just want to show you this. This is literally, this is like 1 day old broccoli seeds that I started to soak in this half-gallon jar. So you like add water. They have a screen, you could see that, and then you just strain them and like leave them at a 45-degree angle, right? And so this is day 1. Okay, this is day 2. So they're starting to like sprout open, right? And check this out. This is day 3. So they're growing exponentially, right? And I'm always growing several layers at a time. This is, check this out. This is day 4.
Wow.
And like my day 7 one, I harvest and I put in the fridge, and like this is madness. This is stuffing an entire half-gallon jar. And it starts with literally 2 tablespoons or a 1/4 cup of seeds, of broccoli
seeds. How much
seeds.
of this stuff are you eating every day? Are you able to eat it all? Or how long does it go before it goes bad?
My girlfriend's here, and you know, my day is I do intermittent fasting. So I drink water until noon, right? And then I'll just make some cockamamie powdery thing with some turmeric and some spirulina and some nettle leaf herbs. And then a couple hours later, I'll have some fruit. So right now the citrus is really good. So I'm eating some citrus. And then I will eat half of this. Okay. I'll eat half of this. And then, you know, this is something else I'm sprouting. This is 3 cups of a mixed protein mix, right? And
what does that mean?
It's chickpeas, garbanzo beans, azuki, and mung beans. So this is literally $2 a pound of dry seeds, and they'll turn into 3 pounds of edible food. And
so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
From a nutritional perspective, what is the difference between eating the seed variety versus the sprouted variety? I mean, I think we all know, like, when these seeds are in their germination state, when they're sprouting, the nutrients are more bioavailable, they're more, complete, or, explain to me exactly why it is more beneficial to eat them in their sprouted state.
I've heard you talk about, like, for lunch, you'll just go and get in Trader Joe's, you'll get like a bag of cooked lentils.
Right.
Right? Pre-made lentils, couple dollars in Trader Joe's. Sprouted lentils have 300% of the vitamin C of cooked lentils. Wow. Because they're alive. So there's this life force that's in them that's causing them to grow. So I think across the board, sprouts have, in the seed stage, have almost everything they need to go from like a little seed to germinate, to grow into a plant. That's why these things are growing, without soil, because they contain everything in this endosperm in them. So that's what's creating. And so as they grow, they're increasing the micronutrients, and they're increasing the soluble fiber and the insoluble fiber. And like even things like bean sprouts, like you think about a bean versus bean sprouts. Bean sprouts have, I used to like really be biased against bean sprouts because I thought they were like the iceberg lettuce of sprouts. And it turns out mung bean sprouts literally have like 20% of the vitamin C, and they have 4 or 8 grams of protein in like bean sprouts that look like they're nothing in them. Wow. So I think the main thing about like eating the sprouts is that you're getting live enzymes, you're getting bioavailable soluble and insoluble fiber, and you're getting an array of nutrients. And probably the best example of sprouts versus mature vegetable is in the healing properties of broccoli sprouts. So broccoli sprouts contain the precursor of sulforaphane. And so all cruciferous vegetables are known for anti-cancer properties. And the key component is called sulforaphane. And broccoli sprouts have 30 to 50 times the amount of sulforaphane than mature broccoli. And wow. To me, the clue is like in that little seed, like a little bit bigger than a poppy seed, contains all of this nutrient. And the earlier you're eating it, the more of this compound exists.
So how much of your daily diet is comprised of eating sprouts that you've grown?
I would say, before and after Corona, it hasn't changed. What's changed a little is my girlfriend came here and she's cooking these epic vegan meals every night. So I'm now like, quasi eating all the amount of sprouts that I ate before, which was probably 50 to 70% of my diet. But now I'm eating a cooked vegan meal with a big salad and other, abundant things. But I would say, if I were to just be very clear, probably 50% of the calories I'm consuming are coming from sprouts.
I know in the book you are, the question comes up like, what's your favorite sprout? And it's like, it's hard for you to answer that question. I know that for me, broccoli sprouts are generally like my go-to. And I think that dates back to a video that Dr. Greger did a long time ago, espousing the benefits of broccoli sprouts over alfalfa sprouts and other varieties. But if somebody's looking to dip their toe into this for the first time, like what are some of the best sprouts, the most nutritionally beneficial sprouts that people should be exploring?
I think sprouts kind of fit into 3 different groups. There's the gelatinous ones like the chia. And by the way, I have some chia sprouts growing. And look at this. This is like terracotta, just like a piece of clay pot. And they're like little chia seeds growing into sprouts. And these have omega-3, like in chia seeds. So what better way do you want to get your omega-3s than from sprouted chia, right? So I love those. I think the broccoli sprouts are easy to eat, but I'll make broccoli, clover, radish sprouts as well because I like the garden variety. The sunflower sprouts are my lettuce replacement. Like I'll eat the sunflower sprouts in lieu of baby greens or romaine lettuce just because they're hearty, crunchy, nutty, and they have a real chew. These, the crunchy sprouts this is this mix that I use of let's see how the lighting. This is a combination of chickpeas, garbanzo beans, mung beans, azuki, and lentils. And like I'll eat half of this every day, and this will give me 16 grams of protein from this.
Wow.
From that. So it all depends on, you know, what you want, what you're looking for, you know, from the diet and nutrition perspective. So if you're looking for calories, like the crunchy, the peas, the garbanzo beans, the lentils, the azuki, the mung beans, those are going to be heavy calories and they're going to be high protein.
Right. So I'm just sort of also eyeballing like the comments and the questions that are scrolling in. And at some point somebody said, well, why are, you know, when you go to the store, the sprouts are so crazy expensive? And I think that's true. If you go to Erewhon or Whole Foods, they are pretty expensive, but perhaps that person logged in a little bit late, because one of the things that you talk about, you know, in the book is how easy it is to do this at home. And you kind of walk people through, like, basically just you water this stuff and you don't really have to do very much of it. You don't need any special lighting or anything like that. But why don't you walk us through like the process where you acquire the seeds to, you know, how you get them into an edible state?
Yeah, I think that's great. I'm going to throw in one thing on the economics. One of the things that I was penalized for in my last 2 lifetimes, right, was, you know, Organic Avenue, a cold pressed juice was $10. Juicero, a pack of produce was $7. And it was virtually the same price of going to Air One to buy a cold pressed juice or a super premium juice bar. And sprouts, if you buy them, you know, in Air One or in Whole Foods or anywhere, you're going to spend $3 to $7 for a small pack of sprouts.
Right.
The insight that I had is that that's only like 30 cents worth of seeds. Mm-hmm. So there's enormous economic leverage if you're willing to take the initiative to sprout on your own. And
yeah,
so,
I feel like it's really just an information gap. Like, you know, I don't know how to do this, so I'm never going to do it unless, you know, you tell me exactly what it is that I need to do and how to do it.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, literally the process is so simple, where step one, like for me, you know, I keep the sprouts in the freezer or refrigerator. So this is a half a gallon of broccoli seeds.
And where do you get those? What is your source?
I mean, I get them, my 3 favorite places, sproutman.com, you know, Steve Meyer with the Sprout Man.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, may he rest in peace. He died in a car accident, and his kids, who are like in their 20s, took over the business, and they are selling the seeds, and they've got a 40-year history of sprouts. And all of their seeds are tested for pathogens, and they're also tested for a high germination rate. So I like them. I also get bulk from True Leaf Market, and I buy literally 35 pounds and 50-pound bags from them, because I'm giving out sprouts and seeds to anyone who will eat them. My construction workers here have never even heard of the word sprouts, and I'm like, whenever I can, I'll grab them and stop them from eating fast food and hand them, you know, a handful of the crunchy sprouts, no seasoning, just here are the sprouts, and they'll just eat them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm stoked about that. But I'll go to Handy Pantry, and then even on Amazon, you can get a variety of sprouting seeds. So the key thing for the seeds is you want to make sure they're organic, and you want to make sure that they're sprouting seeds. I think you just don't want to go to the bulk bin in Whole Foods and just grab any like thing out of there, because they may, if they're not designed for sprouting, they may get mold and they may have other issues. So how to sprout, literally, I have a bunch of different jars. This is a standard half-gallon mason jar. They sell these lids that go on them, which is basically a metal screen that fits inside the same normal mason jar part. So step one is you literally, and this is so great. I wasn't prepared for this, but I'm totally prepared for this.
Doug, I love you, Doug. Keep going. It's awesome.
Okay, I love you. I love you. You don't have no idea how much I love you. So measuring cup, right? This is a quarter cup. This is a quarter cup. I'll take a quarter cup.
And those, what are those, chia seeds?
No, these, believe it or not, these are broccoli seeds.
Okay.
They're so small, like, just check them out.
Okay, cool.
So these are broccoli seeds. I'll compare them on the countertop with the chia seed, because of course I have chia seeds here. So I'm going to put two. I'm delaying that 1 second.
Somebody just left a comment that, Doug, you're going to save us all.
Thank you. It's really my intention. My intention is always to use this gift that I have of life and share it with people. So just to show you, a broccoli seed is about double the size of a chia seed.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen a broccoli seed in my life.
Yeah, I mean, they're really cute. And you know what? You're hardcore, Rich. You could actually eat them raw. Like literally just crunch them in your mouth and you get them raw. Okay, I'm going to show you this. This is super exciting. You're going to see the relative combination of chia versus broccoli.
Right.
So right here, these are broccoli. And let's see if we can focus that.
We can see it.
Yeah, so it's like twice the size.
Uh-huh.
And so all you do is you take the little, like a quarter cup, you add them to the mason jar. And that quarter cup barely takes up any space in this mason jar.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then you'll add water. And I think I don't need to do a visual for that. You add water, filtered water or spring water or distilled water. You know, I try to avoid tap water because the tap water has chlorine in it. And the chlorine is basically like an antibiotic, antiseptic. So I'll try to avoid using that, but it'll still work. And then
how much water do you put in there?
In this one, I would put about 2 inches of water, just enough so that these things will swell up and maintain their level of hydration. Okay, and then in my book, I have a chart that goes through every seed and the method for doing trays or jars or bags. But in this case, you soak them for 5 hours, as little as 5 hours, in a dark, cool place, right? Just dark, cool place. Could be under the sink, you know, or you could throw a little towel over it, like a little blankie, and they'll sleep well. And then that will awaken them. And then you use that lid jar.
People want to know about the book.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Somebody said that you're the Breaking Bad of sprouts.
I want you to know my kitchen here is 48 square feet. Like,
okay.
I'm preparing enough food for 4 people out of a, here, this is my kitchen, so you could see.
How many people are at your compound right now? Is it just you and your girlfriend?
Me and my girlfriend are in one place, and then we have 4 or 5 people sheltering in place on a long-term stay. They've escaped out of an urban city and they're staying here because we're only doing long-term stays now because of COVID. And I don't see the people, like they're on another part of the property. And they have real, like my kitchen does not have a stove. So I have, my refrigerator. I've got my little countertop there, the sink, and where I'm just sprouting different things in there. And then, dry storage. And then I've got this Sprout Man tray and my bulk storage. And then I got my Home Depot mister.
It does look like a lab.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Breaking Bad, but I kind of like what that sounds like.
The Sprout Whisperer. All right, so you got the mason jar. You put the 2 inches of water in it. Like, just quickly, walk us through this process.
Yeah, you put it in there, and then when you're done with, after the 5 hours, you take this thing, and then you strain out the water. You fill it up again with more water. Then you strain it again, and you leave it at a 45-degree angle so that the water is basically drying out. I use this modified thing here where I just leave these on the strainer in the sink at 45 degrees so the water drains. And then literally all you need to do is rinse them twice a day, in the morning and at night, twice a day. And it takes literally less than a minute per jar. And within several days, you'll have copious amounts of sprouts. And
so how is that different than the sheet that you showed me with the sprouts growing on the parchment paper?
Yeah, so it's actually, this paper is literally just a 7th generation unbleached paper towel. And these, by sprinkling them out this way, they will grow vertically. And sunflowers, just want to digress for a second if I can, Rich. Sunflowers are so extraordinary because one sunflower seed will grow into a 7-foot tall sunflower that is tuned into the sun, that it follows the sun from beginning sunrise to sunset, actually turns with the sun. And that one seed will create a sunflower that will then create hundreds more seeds. So it's like infinite possibilities. And that's what I'm doing now. I wanted to get the greenhouse because I wanted to become off of the seed grid. I want to start growing my own sprouting seeds.
Right.
Like that's like my next mission.
You just have a contained cycle. You're growing the plants, you take the seeds from the plants, you sprout, and you just perpetuate this cycle.
Like if you let broccoli grow a little bit further in your garden, it'll flower, and inside the flower will grow a pod, and that pod will have hundreds more seeds. So it's like when I talked about the acres of diamonds, like the broccoli, the sprouts literally can provide all of this nutrition for everyone. If you think about people living in food deserts, there's nothing exclusive about sprouts because it's literally pennies a serving, under $1 a serving. And like, with your community, I'd love to like plant the seed that I have about sprouting communities where everyone goes off and they get their jars, and Rich becomes the broccoli sprout guy, and Julie becomes the mung bean goddess, and John Joseph is doing the lentils, and then everyone does their crop, and then they can come together and just share. And so you
Right.
could get an array of sprouts, and you, the plant-based super ultra athlete, know that if you're getting enough calories, you're getting enough nutrients. The only two things you can't get in sprouts is you're not getting vitamin D and you're not getting vitamin B12. Everything else you can get from sprouts, like everything.
Right.
So you're getting enough calories, you're going to be healthy.
Are you getting enough calories though? Because I just imagine myself eating this and being hungry. Like it's not like, you know, calorically dense enough for me. I would have to just eat massive handfuls of this stuff to get full.
Oh, Rich, I would guarantee, you know, we can have, I know you're a competitive athlete. Yeah. I'm not that competitive, but we could have like a sprout eating contest, and we could put the glucose monitoring on you, and we can check. And I guarantee that if you eat these things raw, like the crunchy sprouts, the peas, the lentils, the azuki, the mung beans, you're going to get full. You will absolutely categorically get full, and you'll get hundreds of calories.
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna try it. I'm into it now. But I think the main thing, Doug, is just I love your enthusiasm for this. It's very infectious, and just, you know, seeing like the guys, you know, everybody commenting, oh, InQ just dialed in. What's up, InQ?
Oh my God, I got InQ's book today. Hold on a second.
It's great, right? Don't you just love Doug's energy? I mean, he has such a beautiful heart, and he's so pure.
This book is so off the chart.
Yeah.
InQ's Inquire Within. Like I just love this book. Everyone I'm seeing, I'm giving them a copy of my book, and I'm giving them InQ's book. It's just so awesome. I can't believe how someone could put words together like that that just resonate. Like, it's such genius. So
he's a beautiful guy. You guys know each other, right?
Yeah, he's such a modest guy. Like, the first time I met him, I had, you know, Elliot from Summit brought him, you know, for a little tour, and like I don't think he said a word. He was just there, and then like I didn't even know who he was or anything. And then like a year later, like someone kind of elbows me in Davos, Switzerland, and it was InQ. And that was the first time like I had a drop in with him, and I heard his poetry live, and he just lit me up. It was just so profound. And like I said, I've never seen someone who could put words together like that. Yeah,
it's a gift. He's on the podcast this week, actually.
Wow.
We were able to record that before, you know, all of this stuff started. So his book came out. Your book is coming out next week. And as I said to Q, you know, look, we're going through a very difficult time. Everybody is trying to figure out how to navigate this crisis. You know, I'm very privileged in that, you know, I'm home with my family and I feel healthy, and, you know, I'm asymptomatic and my family is healthy, and I'm self-employed, so I don't have to worry about getting laid off, and there will be financial and economic hardship to come. There's a lot of people suffering out there. And I don't in any way want to minimize, you know, what everybody's going through right now, but my heart does go out for people like yourself and for InQ who, you know, spent, you know, I know when you started working on this book, and I know how hard it is to write a book, and to have it come out in a moment where, you know, it feels tone deaf to try to promote something any, you know, like right now, it just, you know, it doesn't feel right. And yet you have every right at the same time to be very proud of what you created. And I think it's something that can be incredibly helpful for people right now. And I think, you know, when we're all thinking about like, how can we eat healthy to improve our, you know, immune response and be as robust as we possibly can. And also, how do we fill this extra time with something productive, and how do we challenge ourselves and learn something new? You know, there is kind of like this beautiful opening right now where the stuff that you're talking about, you know, could make its way into people's homes in a very real way.
Yeah, look, I think that there's probably couldn't be a worse time to start a business or to drop a book or do anything because of what's happening with COVID-19. There couldn't be a worse time. And why I'm enthusiastic about the Sprouts is I think that this is a remedy. We have no idea how long this will last, right? I mean, maybe, the curve is flattening in other parts of the world. We have no idea. It hasn't hit California in a big way. And I'm still like mourning. The first person that I knew died of COVID. He was 52 years old. Adam Schlesinger.
Oh, did you know Adam?
Yeah, my friend.
Wow.
I knew Adam from New York through Stephen Gold, who I went to like elementary school with.
Wow.
So I hung out with him, and like he's 52 years old, right? And that's bringing this kind of seriousness of this right home, where here's someone like our age who was he wasn't like ultra athlete or fanatic Sproutarian, but he was very modestly healthy. And then he got sick. He was upstate, so it wasn't like he was in New York City. And then he went up right into the hospital, right into a COVID dedicated place, right on a ventilator, and gone. Gone. So I think this is very, very serious. And for me, like, I'm shy. Like, I may be enthusiastic with you, and we've had some fun times, and you light me up because you're such an inspiration. I went running today, and I ran an extra mile because I was like, oh my God, I'm speaking to Rich Roll. I better just run that extra mile. But I feel that the stronger your immune system is, and the more plants that you're eating, right? And I'm, I polished some of my elbows are a little bit softer and like less judgmental, right? So I'm not like out there, protesting, which I was never a protester, but I'm not telling other people what to do. What I'm doing is inviting them, because I believe there's a global consensus that says eat more vegetables. Vegetables are good for you. And sprouts are vegetables, and they're the most accessible, affordable vegetable. And that's what we want to create. I love what Mary wrote, sprouts are the new normal. And there's no shortage. There may be shortage of toilet paper. There's no shortage of sprouting seeds. Okay?
That's
shortage.
the quote of the IG Live. There may be a shortage of toilet paper, but there is no shortage of seeds.
No shortage of seeds. And we have no weapons here, because the people who have weapons aren't interested in sprouting seeds, right? They may be interested in your beer or your toilet paper, but they're not interested in sprouting seeds.
No one's going to come and rob you of your seeds.
No. So, Rich, so I just want to say you can find me at Doug Evans on Instagram. The book is called The Sprout Book. It's available. We should probably do a giveaway or something, to your people, figure out how to do that. And
you want to figure something out right now, or do you want to send me something later? We can figure something out.
I think
I'm happy to help you with that.
Yeah, we'll figure that out offline. My brain is so clued in on sprouts, I can't think of anything else.
Well, before you go, can we go outside and can you give us a look around your incredible property?
Yeah, hold on. Let me put my hat on.
For those that are just dialing in right now, who are showing up late to this, I'm here with my friend Doug Evans. He wrote a book, The Sprout Book. But Doug, who's a native New Yorker, moved out to the Mojave Desert near Joshua Tree, and he bought this huge parcel of land in the middle of nowhere. It's literally just the desert in the middle of nowhere, and but it's on top of these hot springs, and he's slowly building out the property with living structures, and you kind of have a little bit of a commune going on right now.
A little bit. So this is like the one of my highlights. This is like a 5,000-pound solid granite tub. Incredible. That I use for soaking in, and this hold on over here. This is the
what is that carved out of?
What? That's carved out of a river rock. I mean, it's a solid river rock. that I found in Indonesia, and I
Right.
brought it over. And so I have that, and then this is my cold plunge. So I do my Wim Hof, and then I treat myself with the hot springs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to show you this. I can't go too far because we don't have good coverage. But this is like the little oasis, and
There you go.
that's my this is Shadow Mountain over here, not a cloud in the sky. This is an earth dome that we built out of sandbags, and then we transplanted these palm trees, and up there it's just like my geothermal lap pool, so I can do my laps. And then, we have a little irrigation pond, and that's the pomegranate orchard. And literally that's Joshua Tree National Park.
Right.
And so, you look around, and this is a little Joshua Tree. Every time I see construction going on in Joshua Tree, I run up with all the love to the contractors, and I tell them I want to rescue all the trees. So I've now rescued like 50 Joshua trees and yuccas, and that's it. And we have some bamboo growing. I get around the property on my Burning Man bike.
Of course.
And that's really it. We got outdoor shower over there. And,
how close is the nearest town?
The nearest town, let me just go back. The nearest town is 29 Palms, and that's probably 20 minutes away. And then downtown Joshua Tree is 35 minutes away. And we're probably equidistant between Las Vegas and Los Angeles.
Right. Got it.
So that's it. And the air quality here is great. The sun rises. We're 35 miles from the nearest interstate. So literally we see the Milky Way. And I used to get excited about the Milky Way chocolate bar. And like now I can't even imagine what that tastes like, but I can stare at the Milky Way above, for hours on end. It's just an amazing part here. And I feel like the healthiest I've ever been, like just being out here in nature.
Do you get lonely?
I'm for whatever obsessive compulsive reasons, I'm always have something to do. So the short answer is no. Like I'm behind on, working on my video course. I want to do an online sprouting video course and put that out into the domain. I have, I'm about 100 podcasts behind of listening to your podcast. I don't have enough time to really, like my yoga practice, can be limited to as little as like 5 Surya Namaskar A's. So I'm not even doing enough yoga. I am running come hell or high water. I don't care if it, like my foot was hurting today and I ran because I'm wearing the barefoot 5-finger shoes, the soft ones, and like I'm feeling the pebbles, and like my foot was bruised, and I said, I don't care, I'm running anyway. And so I ran my 5K plus the extra Rich Roll mile today.
All right.
And so no, I'm not bored. I think the key is we have no TVs on the entire property and no cable.
Right.
So as long, and now my girlfriend came here. She was on the last flight out of Amsterdam. So that's good. But she's and we have our own, she takes her own space and does her own thing. So, but she helped me like organize the Breaking Bad Sprout Lab today before the live. So I'm awesome. Good. I'm really
I gotta
good.
come out when this thing lifts and passes, whenever that is. I'm coming out there, man. I got to see this firsthand. I know Julie's been out there, but I still have yet to see it. So
yeah, it was great. And look, and we have the phone, and I try, I put the phone down, but I spoke to John Joseph today.
Oh, you did? He called me.
Just
he called me earlier too. I couldn't talk. I was on the other line.
Yeah, so just checking in with John,
Uh,
and that, like, there's people that have a little bit more availability now
yeah,
while they're home, and
yeah,
so that's it. But that's the land. You're totally welcome, to any time, Rich.
yeah. Cool. All right, my friend. I'll let you go.
Oh,
I
I just
love
want
you.
I want to say one thing before we go.
What? Yeah,
Um,
go for it.
uh, your wife's cheese not
Uh-huh.
only is nuts, it is like off the hook. Like
Pretty
the
good.
Shreemu cheese is like life changing. It's
Uh-huh.
one of the few things that I actually crave. Like, I
Yeah.
think about it, it is beyond cheese. Like, in a way, like, calling it cheese is like an insult, because it's its
Hmm.
own magnificent
Its own thing.
creation of
Yeah.
plant-based elements. So I just wanted to share that, and I love
Love
you and
you.
Julie, your inspirations to me and to the world.
Thank you, my friend. Likewise, yourself. I love your heart and your spirit. You're a beautiful man and a great friend, and I appreciate this. My only regret is that we couldn't do a proper podcast the other week. So when this whole thing is over, we'll sit down and we'll flesh it out in full.
Well,
But this was
well,
good. We got the visual and the sprouts and the whole thing. So for people that are watching, last time, here it is, the Sprout book. Pick it up from your favorite independent online bookseller, retailer, or Amazon. And what's great about the book is he goes through all the nutritional stuff, and there's all these contributions by a variety of doctors and nutritionists, a lot of which you've probably heard of. And then he goes through the process of how you create this in your home, like step by step, how to do it, and you realize how easy it is. And then you have a whole recipe section of how to use this stuff once you've created it all, like how do you eat it and incorporate it into your favorite foods. So it's well worth
yeah.
it, man. Congrats on the book, and I look forward to seeing you again soon, my friend.
Thank you so much, Rich. Take care.
All right.
Bye. Love you. Bye-bye.
Peace out, you guys. Love, peace, plants. Namaste.